welcome to The Lady Killers, a Feminine Rage podcast. Hello and welcome to The Lady Killers, a Feminine Rage podcast. I am your host, Jennifer's Body Adams, and I've just come back from vacation. And Sammy and I were just laughing because I apparently forgot how to podcast because I counted us in, we clapped, and then I hit stop record.
It's been a couple weeks, okay? So I give it to you, all right?
Yeah, in the pod time continuum.
Yes.
Now, listeners have not missed a beat because that is the service we provide to you. But
we do it in bulk. We record in bulk, just like Costco.
We sure do. I know. So I was in the woods and I was at a lake. I did not see any bears, but I did see a mama deer that got very mad at me. Because I was looking at her baby, although her baby was super cute and I was very far away and I was just taking pictures.
Where were you in Lake Michigan? Like, which state did you go to?
We went to Saugatuck, Michigan.
Oh,
which
nice.
Is,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, all I know is it's on Lake Michigan.
I never even went to Michigan while I lived in Chicago, so it's
really?
I've heard it's beautiful. But
well, we loved it. It was the perfect mix of hiking and beach. There were bears there, but we did not see any, thank goodness.
I didn't know there were bears there, but okay.
We didn't either. I know. I was like, well, I guess we're
you
looking
learn
out
something
for
new
'em.
every episode.
Exactly. I know. But you know what? I just spent a week in the north. We are heading south today to Chattahoochee, and I've been singing the Chattahoochee song all
That is
week.
such a hard word to say. So forgive me,
Chattahoochee.
listeners, throughout this episode. I will try my best, but that is it's too many letters. It sounds like an automatopoeia. Like it should be like a choo-choo train sound. That's how I always look at it when I see it. It's like Kissimmee, Florida. That's like the same type of name.
Yeah, Kissimmee. Well, I grew up hearing, well, I went down yonder on the Chattahoochee. It gets hotter than a hoochie coochie.
Ooh, I like that version. I like that.
Yeah, well, I learned how to swim and I learned who I was. A lot about living and a little about love.
Is that Alan Jackson?
I think it's Alan Jackson.
Okay, all right. I could be wrong, but I know my 90s country roots, okay?
That is the only part of the song I really know because I don't love Alan Jackson that much, but I remember hearing that a lot.
It's
when
the
I
only
grew
part
up, so.
worth remembering, so I'll give that
exactly.
to you.
And that's why it made its way onto the pod. So yeah, we are going to be spending some time on the Chattahoochee because today we are watching Elizabeth Banks' Cocaine Bear.
Finally,
I'm
it's
so
all
excited.
For you after over 2 years, I would say at this point of you wanting this, we are finally doing it. We're pulling it. We're pulling the plug, and we're doing Cocaine Bear.
We are doing Cocaine Bear. We're just doing a big old line of Cocaine Bear. I am so excited. I have a real soft spot for this movie, and I have been pushing for us to do it for a long time, and it's finally here.
And we get to do whatever we want, whether they're animals or people, or even if they don't kill, we get to do it. So
if they're a lady, we're doing a pod on it.
Exactly.
You know? Well, okay, so I feel like I have kind of introduced you already, but Sammy, say hello and tell us, have you ever seen a bear in the wild?
This is Sammy, the bear is a girl, Kuykendall. And as I home from the state with a bear on its flag, yes, I have seen my fair share of bears. As I've mentioned on the pod before, my dad had property about like an hour from Lake Tahoe, and he would get the American black bear up there a lot. Like if you left trash out or anything that smelled, those fuckers would come on in, like no fear, like super close to the house. Like I used to get like a photo probably once a month of him like with his little fucking Samsung phone taking pictures of the bears like inching closer and closer in from time to time. He even had like guns up there just in case, although as a convicted felon that was very illegal, but he's dead now, so you'll never catch him, coppers.
Right. He got away with it.
He did.
Officially.
Unless there are cops in wherever he's at and bears or wherever he's at, I think he got away with it.
That's so funny because I have a very similar experience growing up in the Southeast, not necessarily in Nashville or like I live south of Nashville now, but like just going to Gatlinburg, there are black bears everywhere there.
It's so weird for me because I've only been to Nashville and it's such a like concrete jungle kind of.
It's very urban.
So
in
it's
the
hard
city,
for me to imagine with no shade. Do not go there in the summer. It is
July is
fucking
not fun
brutal.
in
It is not a walkable city in the summer at all. But I can't imagine bears in that area. Although I'm sure outside of the city limits it gets a little rural.
Oh, yeah. You go about 20 minutes outside of Nashville and you're in rural town,
I'm sure.
But like in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is where I grew up going on vacation all the time, there are black bears. They're everywhere. There are laws about like trash cans. Like you have to lock up your trash cans because they'll get into your shit, like you said. And so every time we would go to Gatlinburg or the Smoky Mountains Park, we would see black bears. But last time I went, which was last summer, and I think I told you about this, Sammy, we were playing putt-putt down on the strip in Gatlinburg and got chased by a black bear.
At a mini golf place?
At a mini golf place, down on the strip.
You telling me that. Oh my God.
It was so weird because we were like working through the holes and somebody was like, there's a bear down.
Sorry. I can't help it. I'm so sorry.
Oh no. I can't believe I didn't hear it. Man.
That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. But yeah, we were working our way to the end of the course and somebody was like, there's a bear down there. And then we saw a trash can had been turned over. We were like, oh, it's probably gone now because you hear about them a lot and then you just don't see them. But then no, there was a bear right there. And it was
usually
a black
cubs
bear.
Will stick around because they haven't really learned quite yet. Are the black bears the scary ones, or it's the brown bears, right? That are
brown bears, grizzly bears. Those are the ones that are.
They say it at the beginning of the movie. It's like brown bear lie down, I think, or something, or like
if it's brown, lie down. If it's black, fight back. Yeah, which I'd never heard before.
Me
but
neither.
I've never been around a brown bear.
Well, I guess like there were grizzly bear. I think there still are here in California, but they're not nearly as prominent. At least where I grew up. So like maybe they're in Yosemite, or like these national parks. But I never had to deal with those. It was just black bears and a lot of mountain lions where I grew up, like a fucking shit ton of them. So I mean, it was. I grew up in like farm areas, so it was there was a lot of and mountains, so it was a lot of critters rolling about. It was critter country out here.
And I love it. Like I love hiking. I would probably rather go to the mountains than the beach.
It's cooler and less sand.
Absolutely. Yes. The sand gets everywhere. But I've never been to this park before, although it is very close to where I live. What park, you might ask? Let's find out in our first category, Her Story.
I am so much happier now that I'm dead. Technically missing. Soon to be presumed dead. Gone. And my lazy, lying, cheating, oblivious husband will go to prison for my murder.
Great seg.
Oh, thank you. And I said that because I actually can't remember what it's called, although I have it written down. There it is. All right. So this is a section where we tell the story of the film. Spoilers abound, so listen at your own risk. The year is 1985. Somewhere over the American Southeast, Andrew Thornton throws a bunch of cocaine out of a plane, then dies trying to parachute to the ground. His body lands in a driveway in Knoxville, Tennessee. And
How far is that from you?
It's like an hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes.
Right.
It's on the east side of the state. Nashville's in the middle and Memphis is on the west side. It is where UT, University of Tennessee, is. I don't love Knoxville, but I have friends who are from there and they do like it. So,
Well, I trust you. So,
well, thank you. Yes, I mean,
as my travel agent.
Yeah, my Tennessee travel agent. Yeah, if you're listening from Knoxville, it is a lovely city. It's fine. I just, as a Vanderbilt fan, I have a bias against UT. Can't change it. It's a done deal. Anyways, meanwhile, Dee Dee is mad at her single mom, Sorry, and skips school to go to Chattahoochee National Forest with her friend Henry. In the woods, they find bricks of cocaine, some that appear to have been eaten by an animal, and that's when they meet Cocaine Bear.
The titular cocaine bear. Oh, so you said RAR, okay? When I looked up the quotes on IMDb for this movie, the first one is RAR. And it says cocaine bear roar. And I was like, okay, you know what? You're not wrong. I'm sure the bear at a certain point does say that. So it's a direct quote from the movie.
Exactly, from the lady killer herself.
Yes.
And you know what? That's why this movie is so much fun. And I will die on that hill.
Absolutely.
Elsewhere in St. Louis, Eddie is grieving the death of his wife and having a hard time caring for his son. He's left the boy with his father, Sid, of the Bluegrass Drug People. But Sid is over grandpa duty and sends David to look out for Eddie and retrieve all the cocaine. Meanwhile, Ranger Liz is putting on her lipstick and preparing to hang out with her work crush, an eager beaver park ranger named Peter. But 3 hooligans who've been menacing the park arrive first to cause trouble.
She also put on a special perfume, too.
She did.
So,
it's expensive.
As a perfume girly, I can't let that pass. I love a good scent, so I get it.
I've never been much about perfume,
Really?
but
I have a
just
signature scent. Mine is Victor and Rolf's Flower Bomb. You can get it at Nordstrom and Macy's. It is my favorite. I've worn it for 15 years.
Interesting. Okay. I have worn the Philosophy Amazing Grace, and I like that one.
Ooh, I don't know that one. I'll have to look that up.
It's nice. It's very light, but I tend to, when I'm afraid I stink, just do the Bath and Body Works body spray.
Same.
Stuff.
Cucumber melon was my signature scent in high school.
Man,
so.
That's the best one.
And Love Spell from Victoria's Secret. Oof, I love that shit. Just doused in it like Axe, like a boy.
You spray it 10 times and then walk into it.
In my face. Yep. It was in my bloodstream at that point.
Mm-hmm. Well, that means you ooze it,
Thank
so
you.
That's what
Every girl just wants to ooze.
We just want to ooze, So Bob is... Speaking of oozing, Bob is a detective who's been hunting Sid for years and wants to get to the cocaine before Sid and his minions can retrieve it. They all converge as Cocaine Bear rampages through the park, killing everyone who crosses her path. That's right, it's a girl bear, including 2 unfortunate paramedics called in by Ranger Liz. Bob and David have a standoff over the drugs that leaves Bob bleeding to death on a gazebo roof. Sari tracks down Henry and Dee Dee in Cocaine Bear's den, where she meets her 2 adorable cubs who are also covered in cocaine. But they also run afoul of Sid, who puts everyone in danger to retrieve the drugs. But David and Eddie finally reject Sid's control, and they follow Sari and the kids in jumping off a cliff outside the bear's den into the river below.
It was quite the ballsy decision there.
It is, I know.
And I commend her for it.
Exactly. Well, and if you're Eddie and David, if a mom and 2 kids can do it, you're probably going to be fine, so you should.
Honestly, if I'm a smaller person, I feel like my chances are higher of surviving. You know what I mean? Because you're so small.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're not gonna go as deep.
But the more area surface you take, you could hit a rock or the edge. You have to just make sure you jump far enough. That's always what I think of. As someone who has jumped off of rope swings into rivers and should have probably died, that's how I think I survived, was just that push off.
Yeah, you got to get far enough out.
Yes.
Yeah. I think those days are behind me.
Oh, they are definitely behind me. Into a river yes, absolutely.
So this leaves just Sid in the bear's lair. Mama and her cubs tear him apart, then knock his body in the river before digging into more of the coke. Sari and the kids make it home safely, while Eddie and David make it back to Eddie's son. And the Bear family continues their cocaine-fueled murder sprees while living happily ever after.
Aww. The end.
The end. So, Sammy, what is your story with Cocaine Bear? And did you know it's based on a true story?
So this was actually the first film I saw at the Alamo in Chicago when it first opened up. And I remember it being a sold-out show because we were in the second row from the front. Which honestly, if you're going to be that close to the screen, it might as well be a movie like this for it. But I remember going in with really low expectations despite being a huge Elizabeth Banks fan. I feel like I've been watching her my entire life, from Wet Hot American Summer to the Hunger Games as Effie Trinket, who I love. She's one of my favorite characters. Not to mention she's the brains behind one of my favorite 2000s movies, the Pitch Perfect movies. So I love that. I was also a really big fan of The Uninvited with Emily Browning. It's a remake of a Japanese film. We could cover it technically, but it's a horror movie from that era. I love that movie. She's the stepmom in it. But her work over the years has definitely left a mark on me. Despite some of the hiccups I feel like she's experienced along the way. I feel like, you know, Here's Looking at You, Charlie's Angels, that remake it bombed pretty bad. I've never seen it. I don't know how bad it is, but I remember it bombing really bad, and she kind of got carte blanche for it.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie and the movie-going experience I had when we first saw it in theaters. And again, when I just rewatched it, this was only my second time watching it. But to answer your question, yes, I did know that it was based on a true story just because they use it in the marketing quite a bit. But I didn't know the extent of the truth, if that makes sense. Like, I assumed the entirety of this movie was based on fact. Like, the bear really did kill all of these people. You know, so just like the quote at the beginning of the movie, I too will use Wikipedia to inform our listeners on the less crazy but albeit real and true story. The film's tagline claims it's inspired by true events, but how much of Cocaine Bear actually happened? Here's everything you need to know. The story of Cocaine Bear is loosely based on the events of a drug smuggling operation that went badly in September of 1985. Andrew Thornton, a former U.S. narcotics officer, was dropping duffel bags of cocaine into Georgia from a light aircraft while on a smuggling run from Colombia, as you do. After reportedly having issues with the engine, he jumped out but hit his head on the tail of the aircraft and his parachute failed to open. The 40-year-old died on impact on a driveway in Knoxville, Tennessee, 50 miles away. He was wearing night vision goggles, a bulletproof vest, Gucci loafers, and was carrying guns, knives, and thousands of dollars in cash, plus packages of cocaine that were worth $15 million, which is insane, especially for that era. The autopiloted aircraft was later found crashed in Hayesville, North Carolina. 3 months later, a 79 kilogram, because this article that I had did weight by that metric system, black bear was discovered dead in Georgia's Chattahoochee National Forest. I just it has you have to say it like that. Did I say it right?
Yeah,
okay,
you do.
Perfect.
Yeah, you got it.
Having eaten cocaine from a bag dropped off by Thornton. Gary Gardner, an official from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, said the bear got into it before we could, and he tore the duffel bag open, got him some cocaine, and OD'd. There was nothing left of the bear but bones and a big hide. It's unclear how much the bear ingested. All 40 bundles of cocaine, 40 kilograms in total, valued at $20 million, had been ripped open and were empty. An autopsy of the animal found that they had absorbed only 3 or 4 grams of cocaine into its bloodstream, although it could have eaten more because we don't know how long of time had passed.
Yeah.
There's no evidence, however, that the bear went on a rampage as portrayed in Cocaine Bear. In reality, the animal likely died quickly after ingesting the drug, which honestly checks out. Even while we were watching it, I was like, how much would it take, even though they have really big bear hearts, how much would that take to kill them?
Yeah, and you're gonna overdose.
Exactly. I'm sorry. That was a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
Also, so was the fucking little spoonful that the kids did.
Oh, I know.
It just
an
obscene amount. Yes, especially for your first. That was insane. But the article went on to say it wouldn't have taken very much to kill him. He could have eaten half a pound and that might have killed him too. The animal's stomach was literally packed to the brim with cocaine, according to the medical examiner. Yeah, it's really sad. There isn't a mammal on the planet that could survive that. Cerebral hemorrhaging, respiratory failure, hyperthermia, renal failure, heart failure, and stroke, you name it, the bear had it. So no, the bear didn't take any lives, but they, took their own after a bender with the bare necessities. So so sad, but at least the bear didn't kill anybody, which
that's true.
It's nice to they're not a total villain like they're portrayed in this movie.
Well, and I do know that they stuffed the bear and that it is in a mall in Lexington, Kentucky. And do you know what it's called?
Pablo
Escobar.
Bear, yes. We love a play on words, a good pun.
It is. It's like the most 80s of 80s stories that there could ever 80s.
But I love that. I think throughout history, we have so many weird things that have happened that aren't true crime murder serial killers, these weird moments in history that are ripe for the taking of a script or an original plot. Because it's we have so much IP nowadays. This was kind of refreshing despite, sounding ludicrous on paper.
Right. I remember previews for this and thinking it sounded so stupid. And I was like, this is going to be garbage. It sounds like a Sharknado kind of thing, And I was like, no. But then I got invited to a screening of it and I was like, all right, well, what the hell? I'll check this thing out. And loved it. I was blown away by how much fun I had with this. And I agree with you. I think... But the story is very dark and very sad, but the story we get here is just so much fun. And so I was really excited to talk about this. We had been talking about covering this for a while.
I know.
Yeah, I know. And we were going to kind of package it with some other things. But then as I was watching it, because we also had kind of planned this as a little bit of a lighter episode.
Yes.
And, you know, since we've both been on vacation, we're like, this will be a good way to kind of ease ourselves back into a recording schedule. And I was like, I think there's actually more to this movie than meets the eye. Like, I think it's saying some things, but it's having a lot of fun, and it's really gory, and it's really kind of off the wall. Now, is this a perfect movie? No, but this was my favorite villain of the year it was released. Like, I wrote a list of the best villains for Bloody Disgusting, and I put Cocaine Bear at the top
That
because
doesn't
she's
surprise
incredible.
me in the slightest at all.
Yeah, because she's so cool. But I feel like she has an arc in this story, too, for a fucking bear who's on cocaine. So very excited to talk about it.
And I honestly don't even know if, like, I'll go over a lot of interviews that I got with Elizabeth Banks, but I don't know if it was, like, intentional or not. You know what I mean? Like, I think it just sort of happened that there was more to say here, whether or not they wanted to or not. I think it's interesting that we can find things, like, that we can, like, actually talk about in regard to, like, motherhood and feminism and, like, female rage, which is, you know, why we're here. But, like, again, on paper, this doesn't feel like the movie that has like what's the word I'm looking for? Intellectual conversations.
Right. It's not a super rigorous movie, you know.
Exactly. But it doesn't need to be. But I was pleasantly surprised that after, like, you know, doing my research, I found quite a bit. Like, there were quite a bit of articles that, like, had a lot to say about that. So again, whether or not they meant to or not, I feel like they, you know, succeeded in making something that was more than just some CGI bear, like, kill fest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think sometimes when you let those themes kind of emerge naturally, I gravitate to them more because they're imperfect, and then I can really kind of dig into them.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, I don't need an Oscar, you know, award-winning film for a cocaine bear. Sometimes I just want to see stupid shit, like, and just have a fun time at the movie theaters.
Yeah, but when you make that stupid shit into an actual movie with actual characters, some who are larger than life, some are not believable, but some really are.
Totally.
Then I think we do themes start to emerge. And so
I think that has a lot to do with having a female writer and director.
So too.
Yes. Not to say that men can't, you know, make things with subtext, obviously.
Absolutely.
But I feel like to have a woman on this that really cared about the story, which we'll get into later, like, I feel like that had a lot to do with making it more than meets the eye, I guess.
Completely agree. Yes. Well, okay, let's talk about this bear and the women of Cocaine Bear in our next category. Who is she?
I just wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles, and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
Okay, so our lady killers. I actually have 4 people. They don't all kill, but I think we can talk about whether or not they are lady killers, but I definitely wanted to shout them out. So we have Cocaine Bear herself. Now, Cocaine Bear, I think, is mostly CGI, but I found a bear performer listed on IMDb, so I want to say Alan Henry. I just wanted to
It's like
shout that out.
Andy Serkis with, like, Caesar.
I was thinking
yes,
that.
It's the same technology, I think, that they use.
Okay. And then we have Ranger Liz, Margot Martindale, who, I mean, she is a fucking scene stealer.
I love her
in this movie, too. Me too. Officer Reba, played by Ayula Smart, and then Sorry, played by Kerry Russell. I love Kerry Russell. Matthew Rhys, too. Like, I love the Americans. And so to see them here in such a goofy version of themselves from the Americans,
well,
so much fun.
I mean, there's 3 of them, too. Like,
that's right, because Margot Martindale is in the Americans also.
It feels like a reunion for it, which I love.
It does. And they're in weird 80s costumes, which is what they do on the Americans, too. So
you could say that maybe this is where they end up. This is their
exactly.
Their
I know. So their victims, Andrew Thornton, and I am not totally sure about everyone's name, so I'm going to give a description of their characters too. Andrew Thornton is Coke Plain Man, and that is played by Matthew Rhys, Dream Crush.
I love him. I think he is so handsome.
Oh my God, so dreamy. Yes. Then we have Elsa, who is the hiker, played by Hannah Hoekstra. Olaf, the hiker, who I think of as Red Sexbeard.
Olaf and Elsa, and then his real name is Christopher, and Kristoff is the other character from Frozen. That's quite the coincidence.
Go.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. But he also is Red Sexbeard from Game of Thrones.
Oh, my favorite character listed on IMDb, Red Sexbeard.
Red Sexbeard,
Love
yes.
it.
He is played by Christopher Hivdu. And then Peter, who's Ranger Crush, Jesse Tyler Ferguson. That was a lot of fun.
Unfortunately, I think her gaydar might have been off.
I know. I was like, I don't know if he's going to be into you.
I don't think the perfume isn't going to do the job.
I don't think so. You're going to need a lot more than perfume.
Yes.
Yeah. Ranger Liz, Lipstick Ranger. Beth, who is the paramedic, played by Kyan Kim. And then Tom, who's the other paramedic, sexy mustache paramedic, I would say.
He's like a TikTok influencer, I guess. Like,
really?
Yeah, and that's how he got the part. So,
I liked him in this. That is Scott Seiss. And then, okay, the three hooligans I found: Ponytail, Leo Hanna; Vest, hooligan, J.B. Moore. And then Bob is Rosette's dad, Isaiah Whitlock Jr.
Rosette's dad. Not the police officer.
No.
Rosette's dad.
Rosette's dad.
Got it.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. That is his important relationship in this movie. Isaiah Whitlock Jr. And then Sid, who's played by Ray Liotta. And I believe this was his last role and actually released after he died, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess his death was way more gruesome and they kind of like edited it after the fact.
Okay. In the movie, his death was way more gruesome.
Yes. And then also like he gets his guts, obviously his like stomach comes out, and like that's the same thing that happens to him in Hannibal too.
That's right. Oh.
But I feel like they must have cast him because of Goodfellas. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like every time I like the Coke and everything, I just Karen. That's just like all I kept wanting to say the entire time.
Isn't he? He's in Field of Dreams too. He's the dad in Field of Dreams.
I have never seen Field of Dreams.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm not big on like, which is weird because I like two baseball. Actually, you know what? I was about to say I don't like baseball movies, but I actually like a fair amount of baseball movies. So I love The Sandlot and I love A League of Their Own.
Oh, love A League of Their Own.
I like Moneyball too. So I guess I do like some, but like I just have never gotten around to that one.
Corey's obsessed with it. He made me read the book when we started dating.
It's the Kevin Costner one,
Kevin
right?
Costner, yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. It's got James Earl Jones in it too. And Amy Madigan. Like it is about baseball, but it's like less about baseball than
James, who's also in Sandlot. James Earl Jones. Man.
Yeah.
He must have really liked baseball.
Yeah, he says baseball. So
we watched it over the 4th of July. I was in the hotel room and I was like, damn, this movie slaps.
It really is. It's so
It
good.
might be just Stand By Me re-edit, like part 2, but
Baseball
I still
Stand By
really
Me.
like it. Yes, but I still really like it.
Well, I would highly recommend Field of Dreams. It's very good.
And then I'll tell Corey all about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. He would divorce me if I said not to watch it too. So, okay. And then our motive is cocaine.
Which happens to the best of us.
It does.
I
it was all I could do not to say cocaine is a hell of a drug. But
it really is.
It really
she
is.
just wanted to keep the party going.
She did.
And then I felt bad for her because like once they run out, that's it. Like she could never. It's not like she can mosey in.
She can't find a dealer.
Exactly. And she can't understand what's happening. She's going through withdrawal, I'm sure. I just felt really bad for her.
And her cubs too. She's gonna have to parent through that too.
Yes. And they're very young.
They are.
Their frontal lobes weren't developed quite yet. That's going to stunt their cub growth.
Poor little junky cubs,
They are. Oh my god!
But you know
it's
what?
like from Breaking Bad, that scene with like the ATM, and they have like the baby at their house. Like she's like the tweaker bear, and that's like the poor baby that needs help.
But we leave them in a good place. So
yes, which. They don't survive the real events.
That's true.
So they get a happy ending.
I'm going to pretend they're doing just fine.
Mm-hmm.
They learn how to manage their substance use, and
yes, they're the bears from Brother Bear, the Disney animated classic.
Oh, the Berenstain Bears too. Yeah.
That or what is it? Little Bear from Nick Jr. I loved Little Bear. I had his toothpaste in his video game. I was big on that. So.
Well, this is essentially a Little Bear does coke, or Berenstain Bears.
That's what I'm gonna tell myself.
Yeah. And it turns out okay for them,
It really does. It does.
Well, our weapon is also cocaine, and then I also just wrote she's a bear, so she's gonna do bear stuff, and then guns and betrayal. So we're gonna talk a lot about the ladies in this movie. But before we do, who is your favorite boy in Cocaine Bear?
First of all, I love in the outline as you listed the weapons, the only one not capitalized was betrayal, as if like that was the least amount of one. So I love that. All of the other ones are bigger and better, and this one's just like, and betrayal.
I don't think that was intentional. So I like to think, like Elizabeth Banks, I'm letting the themes emerge also.
Wow, what an auteur you are, man! That's why we keep you around.
Podcasting
man.
auteur. That is absolutely what I am.
But so to answer your question, it's very rare that I relish talking about men. But to be fair, despite most of the men being criminals in this film, I feel like the vast majority of them end up being pretty likable.
Yeah.
Which I love because, as we know, there's nothing I like more than a two things can be true character analysis. Like just because you're a drug dealer doesn't mean you're bad, like the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or not capable of learning a lesson. But one thing I remember worrying about when it came to this script, when I was seeing all the marketing for it, was that the human element wouldn't have enough of a hook for me to care about them. I feel like they were really leaning on like, the bear for everything. And I just felt like that was all it was going to be.
It's just going to be like bear cannon fodder.
Exactly. Like, and they're going up against a bear on cocaine. Like, I get it.
Right.
Like, that's going to be the main focal point. And I imagine that's a lot of pressure for the actors. So it was pretty unexpected for me to become emotionally invested in the people the bear encounters throughout the movie, because I do think the film, like, really does showcase moments of triumph for humanity, which, again, like, movie about bear on cocaine, I wasn't anticipating giving a single fuck about the characters,
right.
But specifically David and Eddie became my favorite plot point in the film. And sure, that might have a little bit to do with the massive crush I've had on Alden Ehrenreich.
I never know.
I don't know. I never know.
I just call him Han Solo.
That's exactly what I was about to say. But I first saw him in Beautiful Creatures, which is this like YA adapted novel film with Emmy Rossum like many years ago. And I loved it. With witches. It's very good. It's not very good, actually. It was very good in like 14-year-old me's mind. But I just found them like really charming, and I liked their banter, and I really love like a found family trope. So I liked them by the end of the movie. They were my favorite male duo out of the entire film.
Yeah, I liked him a lot too. And have you seen Fair Play with him?
No.
It's really good. I think it's on Netflix right now, and it's got Phoebe Dynevor, who was in the first season of Bridgerton. Yes. Yeah, it's really good. It's like it's an actually good erotic thriller, so highly recommend.
Okay.
And he's super hot in it, so.
Ooh.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked both of them, but I think I gotta give it to Matthew Rhys. Man, he's here
and that
for like
50 seconds of screen
but
time.
it's just the perfect tone to kick this movie off, and I love him so much. I think he didn't have to go that hard in that scene. Like he could have just kind of fallen out the window, but it's so much fun. I love that these duffel bags have rainbows on them too, and I don't know if that has anything to do with him, but it feels like a continuation of how like bizarre that character is. And I just love him. It sets the perfect tone for this movie.
So he wasn't originally supposed to be like there was no.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
And he asked, like, I guess he's friends with Elizabeth Banks, so he was like, "Hey, like, what part isn't filled?" And she like told him about the part, and he was like, "I'll take it. It doesn't matter how like long I have to be there," because he wanted a break from like the kids while Kerry Russell was there filming, so he got to go and kind of be like on vacation with. It reminds me of, like with the new season of White Lotus, how like Sam Rockwell was like, "Hey, I want to come." Like Leslie Bibbs there, my wife, like I want to come. Give me a role. So it was kind of like that, where he was just like, "I want the role." Like,
it's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh, which I think is thematic here too. It's
and also fair. It happens.
Oh,
Sometimes
absolutely.
You want a break, and
well,
that's
and
fair.
I doubt he like left his children alone unsupervised, and also
it's
like
one scene,
right?
too.
And you're not filming a movie over a weekend, like I imagine. So yeah,
and the
not
song
saying he
there
is a
and
bad
everything,
dad.
I just love like that scene is
It's
so good.
much fun.
I love because I love Wet Hot American Summer, and I love that they use that song from it because that's like the opening song from the movie, the Jefferson Starship song. And some people didn't like it. Like I guess Mike was telling me Caffrey from the Losers Club and Halloweenies was like it was kind of distracting to use it, and I was like I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Like it was like, hey, this is her roots. roots. This is where she's from, and I love that song, so I was super into it. We even put it on our wedding playlist. So.
Oh, yay. Oh, that'll be so much fun. Yeah, and I had no idea he was in it either. So it reminded me a lot of the monkey when Adam Scott is in the very first cameo, you know?
Or like Bradley Cooper in the new Superman movie.
Yes.
Where I was like, oh,
Like,
jump
what the
scare. Like, I
fuck?
wasn't anticipating that.
I know. So it's one of those pleasant little cameos, and then they're gone.
Yes.
And that's it. Also, we look at his dead body and he's dreamy in it, not goopy because he fell out of a plane. So I appreciate that too. So
Although he probably would be goopy.
he would be
so
goofy, but I appreciate
was
the
more for
choice
us.
to not exactly. They just really wanted to give us one more moment. And I also want to, because I just mentioned the monkey, I want to shout out Christian Convery also, who is Henry, because I do really like him and he's great in the monkey, which I fucking loved the monkey. Similar
I really
vibe,
liked it too.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah.
a fun. It feels like a midnight movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's not taking itself seriously. It's just a fun romp of a movie, and that's exactly what I wanted with this. Like
Fun, gory
couldn't have-
shit, you know?
and not
Not, yeah.
I guess it's somewhat cheesy, but in a way that feels self-aware. You know what I mean? It's not like those like straight to video like Tubi movies. You know,
It's not like Not Without My Daughter, you know, or like a Lifetime
Exactly.
movie. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, God, my brain just fucking stopped. This is what happens when I don't know. When I live.
Oh,
I
my,
guess.
I'm the type, like my ADHD has it where if I have like an appointment at 2, I'm doing nothing until 2. So if we record at 4, I can't do anything until 4 because I will like use myself, like I'll use it beforehand. Like I'm stuck and
you'll waste your flavor. Like,
yes, yes.
Can't hardly wait, speak. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and on that note, we're not going to waste any flavor going to our next category. We're going to get in loser. We're going killing.
This woman will soon cut, chop, break, and burn 5 men beyond recognition. And there isn't a jury in this country that will convict her.
I don't know if that's going to work, but you know what? Fuck it. It's the
works
Cocaine
for
Bear
me.
episode.
Yes, sorry. Anything goes, okay?
Exactly. We're cocaine bearing through this thing. All right. So let's talk about the woman of the hour, Miss Cocaine Bear herself, who viciously kills a bunch of people, but then she wants to play with Eddie. I thought that was really sweet.
I think she wants to do more with Eddie, and I get it.
I mean, she got
girl.
eyes,
Same.
you know?
Like exactly. Like she's a real one for show.
Yeah,
like
like,
I understand her.
I'm going to put my vagina on that cute guy's ear, you know?
And who hasn't wanted to do that once or twice?
Seriously, yes. And she also has 2 cubs. So I think going in, this is the thing that I keep turning over in my head. And part of what really won me over with this movie is, one, finding out that she is a mama bear, literally a mama bear, but also how that discovery changes the tone of the movie, you know, because where we end up feels so different from where we begin or where we first meet her. So do our feelings for Cocaine Bear change when we find out she's a mom? And does she still feel like a villain by the end of the movie?
So I feel like I have confirmation bias when it comes to this question.
It's a bit of a leading question also, I will say.
But it's a good question. Because I do feel like the intent is for you to change your feelings. Because I feel like Elizabeth Banks knows the general public's like way of swaying them. You know what I mean? It's like when I think of like a car that says like baby on board, you know, like it's like warning people of like, hey, there's the baby on board, like be empathetic, treat me differently. Whereas like you should just be a good driver and not really care no matter what.
Yeah.
Like,
because everybody's life matters on the road, you know.
Exactly. It's as if seeing that sign makes me go like, oh, well, I was going to ram into you, but now I know you got a baby on board.
I'll just ram into this person who does not have children.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I feel like for me, you know, like, again, it changes nothing. And by that, I mean, like, a bear is a bear. You know, they're wild animals. And I feel the way I do about not just Cocaine Bear, but all animals like that. It's a lot like how I feel about, like, hellbenders, if you remember from that episode. Like, we can't blame anything for what's in their nature. And it's not as if, like, this bear, I'm going to refer to her as she because she is a woman, texted her bear dealer and asked for a ball. You know, like it's not like she was actively looking for this or wanted this to happen. Not that animals could even do that, but like the cocaine literally fell into her little furry lap.
Yeah.
So I never really like see her as a villain at any point of the film. Like her being a mom is neither here nor there for me. It just sort of is. But I think a lot of those feelings stem from me choosing to be child free. Like we shouldn't treat women any differently based on if they have kids or not. Like I don't want to be seen as less than or less deserving because I'm not a mom. So why should a bear become less of a villain because she is one? Like moms can be villains too, although that's not really relevant here because Cocaine Bear is a bear first and foremost.
But that is kind of the premise of our podcast too, is that
exactly. And I feel like that alone gives her my sympathy. The fact that she is an animal and she's just kind of been dealt a bad hand or
a good hand, depending
paw.
on how.
Yeah, exactly. So like I don't really like. It doesn't change my opinion on her whether or not she has cubs or not. She is a wild animal, and I don't think animals should be treated differently based on if they're moms or not.
Yeah. And I think now that we're thinking about it, and, I was telling you off air, sometimes I write these questions and I don't think about my answers until we actually start talking about it. I don't know if it's actually the cubs that changes my mind as much as it is the fact that it's a girl bear, like, because it is a while before we find out that the cubs exist. We have that whole space in the gazebo where she's getting tired and she's kind of dancing around.
Almost the whole film. Like it's like a third act reveal. Like it's pretty far into the movie when you realize that.
I know. And I think, because I think you're exactly right. Like I don't think that any bear or any human deserves to live more because they have children, or less, or, more because they're a man or a woman, or regardless of gender identity. Like that shouldn't factor
or animal
in.
Identity.
Or animal identity. That's true. It shouldn't really factor in, but it's so interesting to me how it changes the tone. And I also think that we have Sid kind of emerge at this time also. And that kind of, it's not that it necessarily we're swinging towards Cocaine Bear. It's that we now have an antagonist that is not her also,
Oh, totally. Like, okay, so that was a great seg into this article that I have to believe is either like an equal mix of satire and how this person feels because honestly, I like busted up laughing at some of the lines in this. And so if it isn't satire, I'm so sorry. But like she has some good points, but like it's also a bit extreme at points. But I would like to share a couple pieces from her article that is titled "Cocaine Bear is a Feminist Icon of Single Motherhood" by Mariana Salem. I hope that I am saying that right. But she wrote, "When I sat down in the cinema to watch the Elizabeth Banks film, I was expecting an epic slasher comedy. What I got instead was a compelling story of a mother bear doing everything in her power to protect her children from inept male drug dealers and a powerful ode to single motherhood. The film's inciting incident is a man inexplicably dumping bags of cocaine out of a plane and dying soon after. The scene is amusing, but it also represents the invasive, misogynistic attitudes that directly impact Miss Cocaine Bear's quality of life." Sorry, I have to. It's very well written, but I have
Miss Cocaine Bear. I love it.
So, yes,
yeah, no. Our laughing is complimentary.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is a I'm agreeing with it.
Yeah.
A little small claps for this author.
Yeah.
This appalling male entitlement is a running theme throughout the movie. It is a never-ending malignant force for our fuzzy female protagonist to defend herself against. As drug dealers and park rangers descend upon her home, single mother Miss Bear, left nameless as so many other powerful women in history, is forced to turn the very substance these patriarchal parties are seeking to recover in order to protect the only thing that matters to her, her babies. Aww. In the frenzy to protect her home and 2 kids under 2, because I love that we know the age of the cubs.
Yeah.
Miss Bear mauls many, but it is worth noting that our titular bear does in fact also maul some women. In fact, a female hiking tourist is her first victim, and she kills another 2 women in the film. Mm-hmm. It would be tempting to use this body count to discredit Miss Bear's feminist status, but a true feminist doesn't blindly support all women.
Nope.
Especially if they're shooting at you and driving recklessly. Hear, hear. Mm-hmm. In a truly equitable society, gender does not determine social status. Yet throughout the film, Miss Bear is constantly criticized and spoken of without acknowledgement of her internal eternal life. It isn't even until the halfway point that her womanhood is acknowledged in a scene where, big surprise, a man comments on her vagina. And we are meant to be surprised that she got a little mad after taking some cocaine. God forbid women do anything without criticism. Finally, we must discuss the film's climactic third act, in which human mother Sari realizes that Miss Bear did not kill her daughter, and in fact, Miss Bear took her to the cave to keep her safe with her cubs.
Aww.
As a fellow single mother, human mom Sari recognizes that she, her daughter, the bear, and her cubs all share a bond, a sisterhood that transcends species. So Sari turns her wrath on their shared antagonists, the useless male drug dealers who invaded the cave to retrieve the drugs. In this moment, we witness a timeless battle between privileged men and those who have fallen victim to their greed. But thanks to the silent solidarity between single mothers, the women triumph and deliver justice upon the head drug dealer. But of course, the true rest is never possible for women. At the conclusion of the film, Nurse Sari is expected to treat the surviving drug dealer's injuries and, like many women, forced to endure unpaid labor before her. As for Miss Bear, the work of a single mother is multifaceted and infinite, demonstrated with a chilling final shot that sees her tending to her cubs through the intrusive lens of man's camcorder. It's an ending that serves as a solemn reminder to women and those affected by misogyny that we are always object of a male gaze. And I just love this article. I am sorry. Like, despite it being insane because it's about a bear,
Exactly.
I just like loved it. When I typed in cocaine bear motherhood looking for like some type of feminist take to bring to the table on this episode, it might be a little much if maybe they aren't being a little
tongue-in-cheek,
satirical, you know. Yes,
Yeah.
and I think they are. But yeah, I liked this take and I liked it for our pod.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think she's wrong, you know? I think we're saying a lot in this movie, and I have a lot of thoughts about caregiving and like feminization of male characters and masculinity and toxicity. And, you know, I think it's all here. And that's part of why I like messy movies like this, is because I can start to like pull stuff apart. But yeah, I love that, you know?
And like, I love that, like, Eddie, I think his name is, right? Like, he's like a male, like, single male dad,
Exactly.
and he's kind of forced to reckon with the idea of raising a kid by himself. And by the end of this movie, he knows he can take it on. You know what I mean? Like, and I love that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, we also, Elsa, the way we're introduced to her by her boyfriend Olaf's Elsa and Olaf. I didn't notice that, and now I think it's hilarious.
In summer, that's what I want.
Reindeers are better.
He
than
likes
humans.
warm hugs. And then his name is Kristoff, which just makes me want to go
Totally.
like big summer blowout.
Oh my gosh.
I love that you've seen Frozen. Thank you.
Oh yeah,
so you know
a
my
billion
references.
times. Yes,
I saw
yes.
Frozen in theaters by myself. So
Oh, nice. Well, my kids were young right around the Frozen
Is it
time,
nice,
so-
Jen? Is it nice going and seeing Frozen by yourself at 24 years old?
Hey, I saw Twilight by myself on my birthday, so
Okay, that makes
feel
me
ya.
feel better.
Oh, absolutely.
I wish, because I would have done the same.
Yeah,
So wish
thank-
I had been there with you.
no regrets. You know, it was a good birthday. But I think, you know, we're introduced to her, the guy saying, I wanted to have a child with you. I just kind of assumed she was pregnant, you know? And so that is the first
Well, they were
victim.
naming it like
Exactly.
yeah.
So, and I think it's an interesting way to play with that idea, because at this point we think we just assume that it's a male bear because, you know, we're choosing the bear versus the man, and, you know, it's a growling
it's-
bear.
The hubris of man too. Like there's that, like the line that he reads when or I think it's the wife, where she's like, we have such good luck in nature. And it's like, you're so stupid. Like this
Exactly.
is not good luck. Like, sure, in a boat with a whale, I guess you're a little more protective. Although I would argue that as of late, not really, since the whales
No,
hate-
not a killer whale. Not if you're a billionaire, you know.
Yes, they hate CEOs.
I mean,
Which I get.
relatable.
And SeaWorld, I think it's called, which
Oh, yeah.
I get. I would hate that too. I'll never go.
Yeah. Hashtag Free Willy.
But like they're just so dumb about it, where I'm like, what makes you think that like you have power over this wild animal? Like, they're so close to you. You shouldn't just be like, oh, let me take pictures. And like, it felt like an Instagram moment where I was like, you fucking dumb. Like, it's like someone at Yosemite who gets too close to the edge and then falls into the geyser or something.
Well, and having been actually chased by a bear, like, it scared the shit out of me.
You have?
Yeah, that bear at the golf course. It was trying to get away.
Chased you?
It didn't chase me specifically, but it was trying to get out of the crowd that was encircling it, and it ran our way.
So it was scared more than anything.
It was scared. Yeah. And I mean, I think we could all tell, but still, I was like, that's a fucking bear, and I don't know what it's going to do.
Yeah, but animals that are scared or like will do crazy shit, just like people.
Exactly.
Like, was it a cub or like a full-grown
I think
bear?
it was a young, full-grown bear. Like it was young and hungry. Apparently, it had been messing with this golf course a bit, but you know,
almost scarier because then you know that the mama bear is somewhere close.
Exactly.
Like seeing like a small, it's just like in Jurassic Park. Like you see a small dinosaur, you know the big mama dinosaur is close by.
Yeah, well, and I mean, again, those are female animals too, and I love because we're also talking about Mother Nature here. You know, the hubris you're talking about is them thinking, well, we know what to do. We've got our little saying about bears. We know how to survive. Nothing can get us. You know, I put sunscreen on today for my hike, so I'm safe. You know, and so I think this is an example of this feminine earth energy kind of rising up and taking over this hubristic couple. And it's really the woman who dies because the male hiker, I think he survives, or does he die?
He does make it out.
Yeah, he just runs off at a certain point, right? Which
because I feel like they run into him towards the end.
They
like,
do. And then he gets back to the cave, and maybe he just leaves with the cop. I kind of lose track of him by the end of the story.
Because there are kind of quite a few
There are a lot of characters, yeah.
That are nameless, especially like the gang of like kids that like I feel like are like I don't know any of their names or anything.
I don't either.
Like,
they don't actually
like,
have names, I don't think. Yeah.
Even the one that goes with them at the end, I was like, just yellow
shirt guy.
Like,
exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Blonde hair.
But like, I feel like especially when like you're a tourist in another area, like they are, like they just assume like it's the magical of the majesty of Mother Nature and nothing bad can happen to us because we're on vacation. And it's like, no, like, you can
still
if
die.
anything, something bad will definitely happen to you out there if you're not prepared for it, or like you think it's like not a big threat to your situation. Like they see it as like this, oh my God, this is so great and magical, where it's like, I'm sorry, if I saw a bear, like I would immediately either run away or take cover or like create some distance in some way, form or another, not like move closer to it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I do really like that the first victim in this movie is a woman who may or may not be pregnant. I don't actually think she is, but it's certainly implied that she will be soon if she's not already.
But it doesn't matter because
right. Exactly.
Also Mother Nature isn't what's the word I'm looking
selective?
For? It doesn't on gender or age or anything. They don't care. It has nothing to do with like they can't be prejudiced or like racist towards different like sexes or ethnicities. Like they're just animals. They're gonna do what animals do.
Well, and it's like your gender and your status as a parent is not going to protect you, you know, because you are just as vulnerable as everybody else, you know.
And I think a lot of people think that specifically like people who typically don't have bad things happen to them. You know what I mean? Yep. Like it's always like the white influencer like girl who goes to somewhere where you're like something bad might happen to you, but you didn't like take the precautions that you should have because you assumed
you've got privilege.
That you're free. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And Mother Nature and bears don't give a shit about.
Exactly. Yeah. Nature is the great equalizer, you know? So.
Yes. Which honestly, like I find like I like that. Like I find it cathartic. Like there is a sense of ease that comes with that because it makes me feel like I don't have control over the situation. It feels very it is what it is type of thing. Que sera, sera. You know, whatever will be, will be.
Well, and because the flip side of that is nature's not targeting me, you know, like I'm not in more danger. And if I'm just smart and I just, or lucky, you know, and I just like use the skills that I have available, I am in control of my own fate to the extent that I can survive in nature. But I mean, we also are in the forest. We don't live in the forest, you know, maybe.
It's like a shark. Or
exactly.
It's like, eventually when we cover Deep Blue Sea, because I'm sorry, we will be.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to make sure that we do.
It's their territory. Sorry, I will make sure. Yes. You had Cocaine Bear. Like this, Deep Blue Sea is mine. Like also, but like Jaws is technically a woman too because like she has babies.
She does.
I called her Bruce. So
Jaws 3. Jurassic
Everyone
Park.
hates Jaws 3. Exactly. Yes. Thank you. Okay. We can do critters. All right. Or monsters. But yeah, I think if anything, it's absolutely up to the person, you know,
Yeah.
and like a hiker. Whereas like in a city or like somewhere where like people are the villain, that has more to do with the other person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like with animals and these types of like things that happen out in national parks, like because fucking so many people go missing out there, like I feel like it's your fault when you fuck up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's your fault. Sorry. Like it's not your territory and you weren't prepared for it.
Yeah. Well, and nature is a feminized force too. Like it's not targeting anyone. It just exists and it wants to exist in its own form.
But I do feel like nature for me is a woman. Like there's
absolutely.
like Mother Nature. Like I feel like if we were to like get really weird with movies and we were running out of things, like I would be fine covering like Day After Tomorrow. 'Cause
Yeah.
like, it's the world. The world is a woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think if the patriarchal world is the world we have built on top of Mother Nature, then Mother Nature is absolutely a female force, you know?
And I think she's pissed about it.
I think she is too, and she has every right to be. I get
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Same.
Well, speaking of being pissed, let's talk about Ranger Liz because I love her too. Like, if it was just Cocaine Bear, I may be like, okay, do we have enough for a full episode? Although we're about to cross the hour mark, so yes. But we also
There are quite a bit of women in this story. I'm sorry.
Seriously.
Like,
so many.
to our listeners that don't know by now, I'm sorry. Get used to it. If there is like a female take to, like, it doesn't matter if they kill or not.
Yeah,
like,
if they're
I
a
wanna cover
villain or
Mean Girls
villainess.
eventually.
Yep.
You know, like, we're a feminine rage podcast.
We're gonna do it, yeah.
Not just a lady killer podcast.
Exactly, yes. So we have Ranger Liz, and I, for a long time, I just wrote Margot because she's just Margot Martindale to me. But she said, park rangers are peace officers, which means we can shoot people. Fucking love so much.
I honestly didn't even know that. Like,
I
as
didn't
someone
either.
Who's
And it might not be
always
true.
looking out for cops while we're on like road trips and shit, because I am like terrified of that. Like, anytime we've ever seen like a park ranger, I'm like, oh, that doesn't matter. They're not a real
Right,
cop.
not
But
a-
now I'm like, fuck it.
Maybe
Do they
they-
have weapons on them?
Maybe they can shoot people. And I mean, if I were a park ranger, I would want to have some kind of weapon because I watch true crime shit and there are also bears out there, you know, so you got to protect yourself.
I just looked it up, and yes, some park rangers carry firearms, particularly those in law enforcement roles. So
Well, makes sense. Hey, Ted Bundy did a lot of shit in forests, so, you know.
he sure fucking did, and so did a lot of other serial killers. So I get it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, this one shoots, you know, maybe someone who's not so bad, although he's not really a good guy, but she just kills this guy because she is a shit aimer.
It's an accident. Sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely an accident. But I love how like she's just shooting all over the place, you know. She almost kills Carrie Russell too, you know. But
She's not great with that gun. Let's
no,
just say
she's
that.
not. She's a bit of a loose cannon, you know. But
Which
she,
is honestly checks out for cops too. So.
True, I know. And she leaves them to fend for themselves after she's attacked also. Like she does not stay and try to help. As soon as she gets hurt, she walks off, which I would probably do too. Like those are
I
some
get
deep
it.
cuts, you know?
Sorry, it's survival of the fittest, especially if you know there's nothing you can do for them. Why? Like you have
Yeah.
no tie to them. Like I get it. I don't blame her for that.
And if she's saying, I'm going to go get help. So, you know, she is trying to help in a way that she actually can. But she also puts on, like, we are introduced to her putting on this red lipstick. And then we hear about her perfume. And then she immediately starts smoking. And I was like, this character is perfect. I love her so much.
We love that. We love a bad bitch. I feel like I would love to have met her like outside of a dive bar or
Yeah.
something, you know? Like I want to girl out with her.
And I think she's really unlikable too. Like she is mean. She's not doing her job very well, but she's so much fun. And so I kind of wanted to ask you, or do you have that same response to her? Does she feel like delightfully unlikable to you?
Yes and no. So I think of it this way, like, because you originally asked, like, do we think she deserves her fate?
Yes, yeah.
And I absolutely do not think she deserves
No.
her fate. I mean, just based on what we saw from her, like, to have your face scraped against concrete like that, it just seems like overkill. You know,
Gross.
like, because I'm sorry, maybe this is a hot take, but being a somewhat unlikable person doesn't mean you deserve a brutal, drawn-out death.
No. Well, and does it feel like a punishment, do you think?
But I don't feel like the punishment fits the crime.
No,
you know what
absolutely,
I mean?
I don't
Like,
either. No.
I'm sorry, like, because fuck, there are days where I've been unlikable like this, you know what I mean? And I'd like to think I don't deserve face on concrete to be dragged. But I think of it this way, like I've met plenty of women like Ranger Liz, you know, whether they be checking me out at Target or calling my name back for a doctor's appointment. And I sure didn't like hope they'd get attacked by a drug-fueled bear and have their body dragged across the road after being flung from an ambulance, you know, as much as I despise women like this, or at least like the ones that I've encountered in like a customer service scenario. But I kind of would like to think that these sort of people or these sort of women are a dying breed, kind of like not really Karens, but just, I don't know. And I feel like they're like really subject to that area, like the South of like, especially that era where they don't have like a lot of community to tell them otherwise. And also she's obviously not married, you know, she doesn't have kids. So she probably has that like spinster cat, like bear lady, I guess, instead of cat lady. But I feel like, you know, she has that aura, but like, I don't feel like that, again, deserves dying the way that she does. But I do, like I said, feel like they're kind of dying out, you know, but I do feel like they will probably be replaced with a new unimaginable breed of unlikable people, you know, because I do feel like this sort of woman is of a certain age group, and I don't meet many women who are part of like Gen Z or even like millennials like this. They're just mean in other ways.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like she's just a park ranger, a woman in the 80s, you know what I mean? Just trying to find a man to take home with her.
She's looking for love, you know?
Smoking cigs, and you know, I don't know. I don't blame her. I don't think she's as unlikable, I feel like, as she's supposed to be to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that says about me.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that she's played by Margot Martindale, who I am all automatically going to like. And I think, you know, would I want to hang out with Ranger Liz in real life? No. And I do know a lot of women in the South down here. She's like a sassy broad kind of lady, like uncouth, you know, but she knows how to dress up. Like she puts her red lipstick on. She's like, I know how to dress up for my man, you know.
But I feel like she has like a defense up, like because she's been taught that, you know what I mean? Especially as like a woman in a male dominated like field who is not like conventionally, you know, the blonde hair, blue eyed, like Daisy Dukes wearing woman. I feel like she's probably been really hardened over the years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that thing of like, I'm going to be mean to you before you're mean to me.
Right.
Kind of, is how I looked at her.
And she is in a male dominated field. And she just, I think the thing I love about watching her, because while I wouldn't necessarily want to hang out with her, I love her as a character in this movie. She just doesn't give any more fucks. You know, the only thing she cares about is her crush. Yeah. And I absolutely love it because that is very relatable. And I think her death, like, does it feel like a punishment? Yes. Does she deserve the extremity of her fate? No, but it also fits within the context of this movie. Like, she is not, by far, not the only person who gets like destroyed by this bear. Now, hers is probably the worst for me.
Jesse Ferguson's death is rough.
His is pretty bad, especially when he falls on his head.
Yeah.
But like this scraping across the floor, that's why I can't watch The House that Jack Built anymore, because it grosses me out
you
so
can
much.
feel it. It's like nails on a chalkboard type
I had to
of
look
thing.
away.
It's like, even with Ray Liotta's like guts coming out, like that doesn't do
Yep.
anything for me because I've seen gore, I've seen blood. That's not a visceral reaction to me. But seeing someone's face dragged against concrete, like I can feel that. Like I can imagine what that feels like, and that freaks me out.
Yeah.
Like I get more grossed out by like seeing someone's like nail bent back, you know, over like seeing someone like split in half in like a Terrifier movie or something. Like that just feels like gratuitous and almost like carnival-y. Like it doesn't feel like real or grounded. It just feels really fantastical. This felt real. Like it was a pretty gratuitous scene, I felt like.
And it's so shocking too, because you think she's about to be rescued, you know, and then out of the blue. I think this is my favorite part of the movie, even though it is so hard to watch too.
Because it's unexpected, because you've seen her go through a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and like she's like lasted a long time too, where you're like, you want to, despite not really liking her and her not being a likable character, you see how much she's gone through already. So you want to see her come out on the other end, especially because like as a woman, like she did it herself. And I feel like that is kind of, you know, empowering despite not being the nicest person or character I've ever seen put to screen. So you want to see her survive and get through it like an I Survived episode on Oxygen or something.
Exactly.
But instead you're like, fuck all of that for nothing. Like it sucks. Kind of, like, which I didn't see myself really caring about. And again, maybe it is because it's that actress. I like her. But I like her kind of no nonsense, like exterior. I don't know. Like she grew on me I feel like the first time I watched it I really did not like her, and this time I was like, oh, I like this bad bitch a little bit.
Well, and it's almost like a female version of like an edgelord, you know. It's like she's just kind of gonna push as much as she can because she doesn't care, you know,
because what does she have to lose?
Exactly.
You know, like, and I like that. I like women like that act like men,
absolutely. Yes,
because we should be able to.
Exactly. And she, on Murder Made Fiction, we covered a show on Patreon called The Sticky that she's in, and it's about this maple syrup heist in Canada, and so delightful. But she's playing a similar character there, and where it's
is it
just
real?
Like, it was based on a true story. Yeah, it is.
Oh wow,
insane! It's so cool. But she's fantastic in it. And in one of the first episodes, she drags a whole tree through the street and like throws the tree with her car, with her like truck, into this office building by herself. It's so great. And I just think Margot Martindale can pull this off.
Cool name too.
So
what a cool name.
Yeah. But she like can find this line and make this kind of character just likable enough that we have fun hating her. And I still feel like her death is too harsh. You know, I don't like it exists in this world of harsh death. So it's not an anomaly, but it's,
if anything, she's not like cartoonishly villainous.
Right.
You know what I mean? She feels like a real person that maybe like you caught on a bad day.
Yeah.
Or again, it's a different era, a different time, like her background, you know, like her past type of thing. Like I don't like growing up in the South as like a woman that isn't like, you know, dainty and conventionally attractive. Like I feel like would make you this way. And I feel like that feels very real and grounded. And I like seeing real women like that.
And I think there's a liberation in that too, of just being like, you know what, fuck it. Side note to The Sticky, Jamie Lee Curtis is also a bad bitch in that show too. It's great. You should check it out.
I have never even heard of this show.
It didn't do very much. Like, it didn't make very many waves, but I really enjoyed it a lot. It's very, very funny. And
speaking of, I saw Dr. Boat Doctor got canceled, and I felt for you, man.
Like, no. You know what, though? The gods are smiling on us because Pacey and Joey are going to be in three movies.
In a rom-com.
Yes.
I love that. I like all my entire Twitter feed is just that right now because I liked it so much. Like, I just love it.
We're doing the Before trilogy again, except with other dream crushes, and it's going to be fantastic. And you know, we are going to talk about some other ladies in this movie, but before we do that, let's pay some bills. So I want to talk about Officer Reba. I don't have a ton to say about her because I think of all the characters, she's maybe one of the ones that gets a little bit of short shrift here. But she is a law enforcement officer who ends up working for Sid, and she could get help for Bob, but she lets him die on the roof. Now, I don't know if she necessarily causes his death, but she doesn't do anything to save him, and she is in a position to do that. So do we consider Officer Reba a lady killer here?
Okay, so first off, the place we were getting our Headless Horseman pumpkin cookies made for our wedding is from a place called Sweet Reba's. So I couldn't stop referring to her as such throughout the movie, despite her not being particularly sweet.
Okay, but hold on for a second. Say that kind of cookie again.
So it's a Headless Horseman, like the pumpkin that is thrown. So they're going to be like pumpkin cookies. So I am getting a custom made like small wedding cake that is almost like it's in the shape of a heart, and she's putting a Headless Horseman like action figure on it.
Oh,
it's
I
very
love it.
like a 5th birthday party type of cake, but it's beautiful, and I'm getting it custom made. But it's just for us. So I was like, I'll do cookies for everyone else.
Yes.
So they're going to look like the like pumpkin that's thrown in the animated Sleepy Hollow, you know. So but it's her place called Sweet Reba's. It's one of the only bakeries that is like does custom cookies in Carmel, and it's a like very popular hot spot. So
excited.
So again, the entire time I'm like seeing Reba, I was like, oh, I just keep thinking of the cookie place. Also, obviously, you know, a single mom who works 2 jobs. Reba McIntyre, right? Is that her last name? Yeah. Okay.
Don't let me down.
Love that.
Well, then I was
her
thinking
show is pretty good too.
Lovely Rita Meter Maid, although that's Rita, not Reba, though. Sorry.
What's
The
Lovely
Beatles.
Rita?
The Beatles.
Oh gosh, that just shows. I was also thinking. Then you just said Rita, so I was like, thinking of. Wait, is the character from Dexter the white or the baby mama named Rita?
That's
Is
Rita.
it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Rita.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the
So we're
bathroom.
all over the place.
Anyways.
But so I had to let you guys all know about that.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I mean,
course that's how my brain works.
Yeah.
But I feel like we don't really know. You know what I mean? If she's a lady killer or not, because like we haven't seen her before or after the events of this movie. And while her, being part of Sid's gang certainly didn't help the situation, she never really directly kills anyone and seems to be fairly upset, like that her partner was shot. So I think despite her questionable morals, I don't think she ever wanted him hurt, much less dead. And here's hoping my cookie baker is also the same.
Is also not a lady killer.
Yeah, it has some better morals than our sweet Officer Reba.
She's gonna slay that cake and those cookies, and that's all we want her to slay
I
on
sure
that day.
shit hope so. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I just don't think we get to know her enough.
She feels like added, of where it's
She
just like that
does.
twist. Even I was like, "Where's this going?" Like it just like there's already too many characters. So I was like, I didn't really care about this character that much.
I think we could have entirely lifted her out, to be honest. Yeah. And I hate to say that about a female character, especially a female character of color in what is a predominantly white movie. But I don't think we get enough of her for it to really justify her existence in this movie. And so, yeah, it is hard to know if she's a lady killer or not. I will say I love the moment where David stands in front of her when Sid's about to shoot her, and it's just kind of a small moment, but I really like it. And he almost kind of has this exasperated look on his face, like, no, you're not going to fucking shoot her. What are you doing?
I loved him. I thought
I
he
did
was
too.
great. Again, like their relationship in that plotline was my shit. I loved it. I thought he was great. Also Mike interviewed him many years ago, and he said he was like the nicest guy. And I've liked most of his movies too. I think he's a good actor. As far as Nepo babies go, I really like him a lot.
And I want him to do more stuff too. Yeah,
me too. Yeah,
and that's O'Shea Jackson Jr. Because since he survives, I don't know if we've said his name yet, but okay. Well, I want to talk about Rosette, who is, we don't get a ton of her in the film, but I think she is an important character and I love her. So Bob wanted a masculine dog, but ends up falling for Rosette, and it's very sweet. And of course, his most important role is as Rosette's dad. And then Eddie adopts Rosette, which I will say is much better than like a lizard or something, but hopes it will help his son grieve his late wife. And I think you even mentioned it's like he discovers he can be a caregiver in the absence of the woman in his life, and it's a really sweet moment. But she is just like the froofiest dog.
John or
oh yeah,
I still got 7 days of John.
Oh my god, yeah. And I mean, we're introduced to Sid with him saying, I don't want to do grandpa duty anymore. But okay, so
not the best person to leave your kid with.
No, I think he was just lost in his grief. But then Sid also says, when did y'all all get so soft? And so I want to talk a little bit more about caregivers in our next category, but what do we think Rosette reveals about the men who care for her?
Poor little Rosette and her cute little bow. She looks like a Barbie dog, like a dog I would have gotten with my Barbie or Polly Pocket or something. But she's just tossed from person to person as a young pup, and I can relate to that, man. But I personally would never own a dog like Rosette. I mean, at the very least, intentionally seek out a dog like her. It has nothing to do with her appearance or how effeminate she is, but everything to do with me having worked with dogs for a decade or so, which means I know that the purpose of a Rosette, or like dogs like Rosette, is to be a lap dog. And they don't really do well in group environments. And in my experience, have the worst types of owners. Sorry to Rosette's dad. But not the absolute worst, because that goes to doodle owners. Sorry, gang, I don't make the rules. I just calls them as I sees them. But in Rosette's case, I think she serves as sort of like a beacon of hope, like a new start or like a new beginning for Eddie and David. And they don't really judge her by that pink little bow like the officer did. Like, truthfully, I don't think he deserved her, like, because he's immediately like upset by the fact that he chose her or is given her, where I'm just like, dude, like, if anything, like, doth protest too much, you know what I mean? Like, just like, if you're happy with it, just be happy with it. But I think if a little, white yappy dog gives someone a sense of purpose, then I see no harm in that. And I think she she serves as like not a bookend, but like again, a fresh start. Like like this is where we're going. This might be the end, but at least there's a sense of hope.
Yeah, and like she kind of solidifies this new family, I think, towards the end. I think she stresses me out a lot because I just imagine how hard she would be to care for, like especially that hair or that fur. Like,
the grooming is insane. Ooh. That mat's really bad.
I imagine, yeah.
I've seen some, especially that type of dog, like the yappy lap dogs are usually like, their owners are older, and so they don't like take care of them, and then they come in for groom. And I've seen some pretty rough dogs and condition, like their fur in that condition where it's like makes me sad. Also, they bite, and they're little shits a little bit, depending on the owner. But like, they were always rough to groom and to have in daycare. It's hard, but it has everything to do with the owner. And a lot of times they come from puppy mills a lot too.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine them being bred a lot, for a very specific kind of look too, And also for the record, I'm a cat person. So, I don't think this would be my ideal dog anyways. But my ideal dog is a cat. So, But,
I get it. If Mike wasn't allergic, I'd go for a cat. Like, I'm sorry. Again, I love dogs. I work with them. But dogs are like people, and that like some of them suck.
Yeah. And cats are too, but they're not so needy. They suck on their own.
They're self-sufficient. They can be left to their own devices. Dogs need constant attention. Ooh. And like they're also like when they bite, it hurts. Yeah. Like, and it's usually I've only been bit by like small little white yappy dogs.
Really? Well, and so I think that it is interesting to put this dog into this mix too, because I get a lot of girl dad energy with Rosette and especially with Bob. Yes. And I really despise the term girl dad and boy mom in a lot of ways. But I like it here because I don't feel it like it's necessarily toxic. I feel like Bob has this idea of what a dog is going to do and be for him. And it really is going to serve as an accessory to make him feel more manly. And what he learns is that having a pet is not about what the pet does for you. It's about having a relationship with another animal. And I think, in a movie about animals and about animals behaving in autonomous ways and fucking people up, I really like that we get this tiny little prissy little dog that, her breed may not be the best, but from what we see of Rosette, she's super sweet and she does win Bob over. And I think she wins Eddie over also. And I really like what you said, she symbolizes this fresh start for their family. And it's really caregiving that kind of allows him to let go of his grief because he's focusing on somebody outside of himself. And he, for some reason, had a hard time doing that with his own child. But it's like this dog. I'm thinking about when on Sex and the City, when Charlotte gets the dog and she can't handle it and it becomes the buffer between this fighting couple. And so it's just like this glue that is holding that family together. And I
also feel like Eddie deserved her more.
I think so too.
Instantly took her in and didn't think of anything about it. Like he didn't. And I feel like that goes for like parents. It's like if you have a kid and they're gay or they are, trans or maybe some things that you don't like, it's like you have to accept them for what they are. And a dog is the first, if you can accept a dog, then you sure as shit shouldn't have kids.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, and to hear him describe it too, he's like, well, I ordered this dog kind of sight unseen and this is what he got. And that's what happens when you're a parent. You don't know what your kid is going to be like, but you still have to love them regardless. And
it's an animal, a living animal that you're in charge of. Who fucking cares?
Exactly.
If anything, you look less effeminate by being a man that is confident in taking care of a little yappy dog in a pink bow. Yeah. You know what I mean? It makes you look far worse to not be able to handle it or insecure about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like he is so fixated on that he doesn't feel like he's allowed to love her or care about her. Even when he checks in, it's like he's embarrassed to ask how she is. And it's just own it. You love this dog. Who cares? And so I kind of I don't know. If anything, he's more of a villain than Ranger Liz. Sorry.
Well, I was expecting him to get a little bit more of a redemption arc. And I don't dislike him, but I just don't think we get enough of him. And it did frustrate me how disappointed he was in Rosette, but then I think he starts to care for her from afar. But I also think that Rosette was always meant to be with Eddie and his son. And so this was just kind of a way station there. And I mean, I think like with pets and with kids, like caregiving is not a costume, and your kids and your pets are not accessories for you. Like they are animals or human beings. Like they have personalities of their own, and I think we see that through Rosette here.
They just are, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
Like it shouldn't matter what their taste in music or fashion or what they look like is. Like if you have a connection with an animal or a kid, that's all that should matter. Like
Right.
also he could have, you know, put a fucking collar with like studs on her
Yeah,
or something, you know, like
Make
she,
her a little
she
punk
didn't
rock
have to have
doggy.
the pink bow. Like
She didn't even have to have that long hair. You could cut that hair, you know.
absolutely. Although they do look a little wonky.
Oh,
with
do
it
they?
Cut. Yeah, they do. I feel like it's a Shih Tzu, but I just looked it up and I can't find the type of dog that she is. Like that's gonna drive me crazy. Like Maltese.
A Maltese.
There we go.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've seen again. Like I'm sorry to our listeners if you own
No,
a
hey.
dog, but as someone who has worked at several different daycares and boarding facilities and has had a lot of owners that like match their dog.
Mm-hmm.
The white, small, yappy dogs owners are horrid.
Yeah.
It was, I'll never forget it. Maybe I've told you this, but it was an owner of that type of dog that dropped off her dog and then proceeded to lick all of her dog toys in front of me that were used because she wanted her scent to be on the dog toys. And I had to just sit there and take it. Like, and she brought in Dasani water bottles for her dog because the dog couldn't drink. If you can imagine, this woman was an all turquoise, like the
I
turquoise
can't imagine
jewelry.
that. That
you know
makes
what I
sense.
mean?
Mhm.
I feel like that checks out, but
Yeah.
it was like over 10 years ago, and I'll never forget having to look at this woman as she licked these toys, and I had to sit there and go, okay. Like,
This is normal.
You should be admitted to a fucking psych ward, bitch. Like, sorry. Like, it was, or do it in the car. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I do weird shit. I couldn't fathom licking used dog toys in front of someone. But you know what? Some people are just who they are.
Exactly.
You know?
And it sounds bad.
It was very
It was bad. But you know what's good? Our next category, good for her.
Claiming she could take it no more, the young mother released the emergency brake, allowing her car to roll backwards into the nearby lake.
Good for her.
All right. In which we look
Or
into
you don't look toys.
You don't lick. Yeah, don't lick toys. You know, murder is bad, but licking dog toys is bad too. You know, don't do that. Okay.
Maybe if they're new, but they weren't new,
even
and I knew
then,
that.
like I do not ever really approve of licking anything but like ice cream or food. You know,
in
like,
front
just
of a
gross.
stranger
No,
either. You
gross.
know, like sorry.
Yuck. Well, okay, let's talk about mama bears and bad dads. So I've talked about caregiving a little bit. I see a real through line of caregiving, and I could get on my soapbox as a former teacher and as a mom about how caregiving is a feminized role, and that's why it doesn't pay very much, and that's why it's not valued in our culture. So David is caring for Eddie as Eddie is trying to find a way to care for his remaining family. Sari is a nurse and a mother. And the article you read even mentions that she does this unpaid labor at the end. But even when Henry at the end is like, she's a nurse, it's like, oh, thank God she knows what to do, you know?
Because she takes it. It's very Sarah Connery, like, because he tosses it over. Sid tosses it over to David, and she catches it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, she's a bad bitch about it.
Then we also have Sid, who I feel like becomes the antagonist of the movie. He puts his child in more danger, like, because he is Eddie's father. He also does not give a shit about caring for his grandson. And he says, we're introduced to him by saying, I'm sick and tired of watching my kid's kid. Then he also says, though, I'm doing this because if I don't get these drugs, bad people are going to come after you. I don't know how much I believe that. Like, I think he just wants the drugs and the money.
Well, he's probably like the middleman. You know what I mean? Like, there's someone higher up than him. So, like, if he doesn't have these, like, he's gonna have to deal with like the cartel, probably, I imagine. So he's probably like stressed about, you know, like, fuck, like our lives are in danger if we don't get this. But either way, your life is in danger. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the bear's gonna kill you. Like, is it worth that? Also, like, you're taking such a small amount back. Like, does it really matter? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a duffel bag compared to like kilos of it. Like, I'm sure like it's not going to really check out or balance out, like, type of thing over your life. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think Henry has this big moment at the very end where he says, "You're a bad dad," which feels like the climax of the movie in a lot of ways, you know? And then I know you said his death was softened, which I think is a good choice, but it feels like he is the big villain by the end of the movie. And then the movie ends with 3 happy families, like once he is gone. But then we have Eddie and David and this dog that kind of feel like a nuclear family. Then we have Sari and the 2 kids. And then we have Mama Bear and her 2 cubs. So,
but it's not real. They're like modern families, right? Because it's like, it almost feels like 2 gay dads there with a dog and a dead mom and like a little boy. And then you have the like Carrie Russell, like she was a single mother with like her daughter and also like this kid that's been left from his parents. Like, because it sounds like when he like has that moment and he calls him a bad dad, it's like what he wants to say to his own dad. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell like that. And so it's like, yes, they are nuclear families, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like, they're a little different. They're a little wacky families. They're found families, and I love found families because that's how my life feels.
Yeah, and they're non-traditional families too, which I do really like a lot. So,
and the bears, they're their own little family too.
Berenstein bear family, you know. So, what do we think Banks is saying about mothers, parents, and caregivers in this movie?
So, I read a few interviews with Banks that I'd like to share here, but before that, I actually found out that the bear from the original story, like the real like true crime story, was in fact male, and they changed it to female for the film. So I think that's sort of telling on the messaging she was trying to convey. But the article starts off, it's from Variety. She did like a full interview. It's a really great article because I feel like she, again, after Charlie's Angels, like for a female director, like that should have been it. She probably should have been blacklisted. So to have gotten this opportunity was like, she needed it to work. She knew she was like on the chopping block, and Universal spent quite a bit of money on this, especially the marketing. Like, this came out the same year as Megan, so it was like 2 kind of under the radar movies that they didn't expect to make money but ultimately did, and now they're making a sequel to Cocaine Bear, which I think is ridiculous because it just, what else is there to say?
Exactly.
But I love that like she ended up coming up on top. Like, this movie made quite a bit of money. But so the article starts off explaining how the bond of family can inspire a strong survival instinct, and the themes of parenthood that run through Cocaine Bear also give a clue why the bear has been attacking humans the entire movie. Like, yes, the cocaine might have made the bear more aggressive, but at a certain point she's protecting her cubs, you know, from the thoughtless destruction of humans' illegal activities and careless violence. In a wacky movie like Cocaine Bear, the gory deaths and hilarious one-liners can often take center stage, but by the 3rd act there's a surprising amount of heart, which I totally agree with, which I wasn't expecting. The bear never asked to become addicted to cocaine, although it's only been like a couple of days. She might not be addicted. She just needs a couple of days to get over it. And despite human negligence and folly, the bear and her cubs survive to frolic in the woods. Having a deeper meaning to Cocaine Bear gives it something substantially emotional to make its more wacky elements even better. Indeed, Banks did some particularly graphic research. She said, "I don't recommend anyone do this, but if you go down the internet hole of looking at actual animal attacks on humans, it's fucking gnarly as shit." She said, "I love gore. I grew up on Evil Dead. The gore is part of the fun of the ride." But her embrace of the carnage in Cocaine Bear also stems from her conviction that the movie would work only if the audience believed the animal was real. She, quote, said, "It had to feel like a Nat Geo documentary about a bear that did cocaine. It couldn't be something silly. It couldn't seem animated in any way." Most crucially, when Banks looked into the real story, she came away with what she describes as a deep sympathy for the bear. She said, "I really felt like this is so fucked up that this bear got dragged into this drug gone wrong, bad, and ends up dead." And she said, earnestly, as the journalist wrote, "I felt like this movie could be the bear's revenge story," which is ultimately what she did, because the bear just dies. Like, there's no death in the original story. Like, this is kind of the bear getting her just desserts, her hunt, or I'm thinking of like a pun there. Like poo with the honey. You know what I mean?
There we go. At the end of the
exactly. There we go. Or her salmon in the stream.
Yes.
But she said, "My experience is that I'm doing something quietly revolutionary, and that's not what gets paid attention to. what gets paid attention to is, but you're a woman who gets to do male things. That's amazing. And then she said, that's not amazing. I don't purport to be the first who's doing it. I'm not revolutionary. Jodie Foster exists. Drew Barrymore directed a movie. I'm more interested in the work and the ideas that speak to the audience. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of says it all. Like, she, you know, set out to make a slasher based on a true story with a bear who on the surface serves as a villain, but in actuality is just a mama bear trying to save her cubs. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you need some article after like cocaine bear ending explained, you know, to understand that. And I think I that's what I like about it, is that it's pretty cut and dry. It is what it is. There's no like after credits scene. Like, this is just a true story that's been modified to fit a larger audience. Mm-hmm. And that's why I kind of hate that it's getting a sequel, because I'm like, it's done. Yeah. Like, this is it. Like, we don't need a sequel to this.
Now, I will still probably watch it, but yeah.
Same.
I don't think I need the sequel. But I think what I really was struck by on this watch, especially thinking about what we were going to talk about, is how many male caregivers we have in this movie. And I think that's something that I really like. We have this really sweet bonding relationship between David and Eddie. And then even this random kid that that starts out really antagonistic. And I think I really love the idea that in this movie, like, caregiving and parenting is genderless. Like, you can be a mother, even, or a mother figure, or a parental caregiving figure, even if you're not a woman, and even if you're a bear. You know, like, the bear is the same person regardless of whether we know what gender it is, you know. And if we didn't know, if we weren't specifically told, we wouldn't know that it's a girl bear, you know. And she just is who she is.
I wouldn't assume that. I would just assume it's an animal taking care of its young.
Exactly.
Also, I love that, like, with Eddie is like, he doesn't believe he can do it at first, mm-hmm. which I think is a natural response based on how our society sets up. Like, the mom needs to be the main caregiver. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, I like that they show that weakness and that he learns from it. Like, mm-hmm. he's a character that has growth and character development. And I like that. Like, I love that, like, he's a man that doesn't think he can do it and then ultimately goes through a really shitty situation that pushes him to the point where he's like, I know I can do it. Yeah. And then with Kerry Russell's character is like, she has the brawn that I feel like most women don't have in these types of movies. Like, it's usually the man that steps in and saves the day. She saves the day, and it's not even like a second thought. And I love that. Like, she's not some weak, you know, damsel in distress. She's the one that gets shit done.
Yeah. And for most of the movie, she's taking care of a kid that's not her own kid, too. She's just, this is a kid that needs help, and she is there, and she can give this help. And I think we see that with a lot of the male characters there, too. And so I really love the idea. Like, I've talked a lot about how Corey helps out. He does just as much of the parenting as I do. He takes them to, like, doctor's appointments. He does the dishes. Like, it's not... we don't really have feminized roles in this house, even though I do joke about, like, mowing the lawn as, like, men's work. But if he needed me to do that, I would do it, and I could. And I think we see that in this movie. It's like, we can all be parents, we can all be caregivers, and we all are going to need care at some point too. And gender, while gender does play into it, that it's not dependent on what gender you are, and everybody can be a mama bear, and everybody can be a bad dad, regardless of how you identify, you know.
But unfortunately, we live in this world where it's like, for example, I have people in my life that it's like, if they need a babysitter, like, their dad, even if they're available, isn't the babysitter. You know,
or saying a dad is babysitting their own kids, which
is the bare minimum. And they think it's like, oh, wow, that's so, like, how do you get your husband to do that? And it's like, it's his kids like,
too.
That shouldn't be like this feat, you know what I mean? And like, I do feel like there's this, as someone who, you know, had my dad be my primary caretaker when I was younger, he used to call himself Mr. Mom. And like, you know, because my mom left, like, my mom dipped out and I didn't meet her until I was like 5, 6-ish. And like, we never see that, you know what I mean? Like, we see the dad that like leaves or like isn't present, and like the moms have to be the like primary caretaker. Whereas like, we commend men for sticking around, but we don't commend women the way that we should. I feel like, because it's like, it's expected of them.
Exactly.
And, like, for my mom, like, if everyone saw her as like this horrible, evil person because she was capable of leaving me. And like, now that I'm an adult and I don't want kids of my own, like, I get it. I understand. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean she was equipped to be a mom. And it's it's frustrating to watch men get the pass that women don't get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that can be hard to watch as someone that like lived with a dad as a primary caretaker and not a mom. I did not have the regular like, oh, mom's there to be like, mom's the one that's there, like the main person in charge. You know what I mean? She didn't have custody of me until my dad went to jail. Like, my dad had full custody of me and she didn't even fight on it. Like, so that's not normal for most situations.
Yeah.
And I wish it could be, or it shouldn't be normal. No parent should want to leave their kid, but I feel like we shouldn't give men the leeway we give them for leaving their kids.
Well, and I think we shouldn't villainize women for doing that more than we would villainize a man for doing the same thing.
It should be the same.
So I see what you're saying, and I really like how it feels like Sid is the villain here because he is a bad parent, not necessarily because he is a bad dad, because we get a lot of good examples of dads here, some better and worse, but so I really, it feels like this kind of evens the playing field, which I feel like when we're in Mother Nature, we are outside of the patriarchal world. And so when they get into this environment where they don't have control over this bear, all of the patriarchal shit is stripped away and it's just survival. And when it comes down to survival, you just care for the people that you care about and try to survive.
Exactly. Like you don't tell the bear, like, I have kids at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bear
like,
doesn't
that you
care.
would to a serial killer or someone robbing you.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing you could say to the bear to get out of the situation or change its mind. It's going to do what it's going to do. And like with the character of Sid, like even presented with kids being in danger or like, obviously like evil deeds where he doesn't like flinch at it, like for Eddie, it's like he sees that kids are introduced or people get hurt and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, there's a certain level of empathy, like there's a morality there that Sid's character doesn't have. Like he genuinely doesn't care if 2 kids and a mom die,
Yeah.
whereas the other men do care if that happens.
Yeah, and I think Sari, sorry, I keep wanting to call her Carrie. She does too. And so do we feel like this is good for her heart? I think I would say yes. It does feel good for her, for me, because I think, while a lot of the female characters die in this movie, I do think that it's, some female characters find empowerment and they find their way out, and I really love it.
You know what, Jen? Yes, just for you. In fact, I am choosing good for her. I feel like the scene in The Office when Angela has to be the deciding factor for whether or not Hillary Swank is hot.
Yeah.
So yes, Cocaine Bear is good for her whore. And yes, she's hot. She's hot as heck. She's a female Boris Becker.
Yes.
But I think, like, sorry, I just do. Like, even when I was going into this, I was like, you know what? I could make an argument for it not being good for her whore, but that sounds not fun at all.
Yeah.
And like, it is, especially because they changed the gender. Like, it almost feels like they did it for us, like, because it could be a male bear, but instead they were like, you know what? We want this to be good for her whore. We want Cocaine Bear up there with Carrie and Jennifer Check.
Exactly.
And Charlie McGee. We want her up there with all of the good for her whore gals. And so she deserves her place up there with, for all I know, she's the Midsummer Bear.
Exactly.
In, the suit.
I like to think she
Although that
is.
would be sad.
Well, yeah.
But like, just the essence of her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
She's the queen of Midsummer Bears, and she sacrificed her
Yes.
bear boyfriend also. Maybe that's where the dad went,
Exactly. Maybe that's where the dad went. I like this the fan fiction that we're writing.
The
for
bear
this movie.
connected universe.
Yes.
And I do think this is more of a vibes kind of answer. Like, it just feels good. Like she and her cubs turn out okay, even though that's hardly what would ever really happen. But she fucks a lot of people up. She gets what she needs in a non-traditional way also. And I love it.
Also,
So-
it's written and directed by a woman. You know,
Exactly.
like that feels good for her horror for me. Like that also was an IP, it was an original story, despite it, being loosely based on something. So that feels good for her horror for me. But I do think my favorite aspect of the film is how the bear is set up as this like horror-esque monster, a la like Freddy or Jason. Like she has no real motives or desires aside from like protecting her kids, which honestly she's hopped up on cocaine.
Well, yeah.
That's a side effect of the drug. But she just has the urge to like hunt humans and eat the drugs. So they set her up to be this Michael Myers level villain and that she can't be killed, but she's really just a bear, and she's just just a gal trying to make the best out of her situation. And as we've discussed, I feel like the film develops the bear as like a somewhat sympathetic character, you know, to the point where it feels like the audience, as well as even the characters, are supposed to root for her.
Yeah.
And you know what? I did too.
I do too.
So,
yeah.
I get it. She's good for her horror BCU, the Bear Cinematic Universe.
She's just a bear standing in a
we
forest,
bear bears,
asking us to love her, and
we do,
yeah. And okay, well, and so, but would we die for her? Let's find out in our next category.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss.
So I really like that you brought up slashers, because I was not thinking about that at all. And I do think that like she does emerge as this really villainous monster, which is why I did call her a villain in that piece I wrote. But we do slowly humanize her throughout the course of the movie. And while we do that by feminizing her and by giving her children, I don't feel like that reduces her at all. Like, it doesn't feel reductive in any way. I would absolutely die for this movie. I fucking love it. It's so much fun. I like this mama bear. I love everybody in this movie. It's so gory. It was just so much fun, and it feels like a really nice vacation summer movie too. And
absolutely
female director. So yeah, I'm dying for Cocaine Bear, and I think everybody in this movie I would die for.
Even like the bad guys, because I just think everyone gives it their all.
Yeah.
Like they're all
they
there
know
to
what
have
kind
fun.
of movie they're in too.
Exactly. And I love that. I also read that Elizabeth thinks she used like Jaws and like Jurassic Park as like inspiration for this. So, and you can feel that throughout. I feel like it's like that subtle, you don't see the bear at first like to the full extent, and then like it finally has that big moment where she like attacks for the first time. So it does feel like a monster movie, you know, even though I don't think the bear is a monster. Like, I think she's just, again, Mother Nature.
Yeah.
But yes, I would die for Cocaine Bear. Honestly, I want to rage out with Cocaine Bear, take her to the club, maybe hit up the afters, or better yet, I bet she would fucking love the Country Bear Jamboree at Disneyland. I know she would dig that. If Rocco were here, we could fucking geek out on that shit, because we both love the Country Bear Jamboree. But I saw a review that stated, Cocaine Bear is the pinnacle of the emerging breed of theme park ride movies. From start to finish, viewers are on a roller coaster of drama, but more importantly, blood, guts, gore, and a black bear on cocaine. So I guess next stop for me and Cocaine Bear is theme parks and Frontierland, so we can go to the Country Bear Jamboree, because she is a theme park ride of a movie, and I love that.
Oh, I love that too.
And I'm just glad we got to cover this movie for you.
That is good for me too.
Yes.
yes. Our first non-human lady killer, I think, too.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we've covered maybe doll, or no, I feel like this is our first
animal. At least. Yeah. Listeners, if we're forgetting somebody, let us know.
Please let us know.
And on that note, let's wrap up with what's coming next.
Unlock the next configuration. And then the last. No. I've done enough. Enough is a myth.
If you want to follow the show, you can do that on Twitter at TheLadyKPod and on Instagram and Blue Sky at TheLadyKillersPod. Sammy, where can listeners find you online?
As always, you guys can find me at SRK Doll at Instagram, on Twitter, on Letterboxd, and I'm like debating how I'm gonna change my username once I get married, like how I'm gonna adjust it, because I've used this forever. So I'm like SR Roth, SR Rothman. I don't know.
Doll.
So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know, because I'm getting closer and closer to changing my last name.
That's true. Yes, and we're gonna be celebrating with some theme movies too. So. But more on that down the road. Listeners, you can find me at Jim Ferratu. And if you want to hear me talk about The Sticky and talk about Margot Martindale, please check out Murder Made Fiction. I would love for you to check that out. Right now, we just did a whole primer on the Warrens today, because we are about to dip into the Conjuring universe. So that's going to be really fun.
Oh my gosh. Oh, how fun. I can't wait for that.
Super excited. You can also hear me on The Losers Club and The Girls on the Boys, where we talk a lot about gender and masculinity. And you can find me at Jim Ferratu, just doing lots of stuff.
Gosh, just I don't know how I feel like that Sarah Jessica Parker movie was like, I don't know how she does it.
Well, I don't know how I do it either. And
I don't either. I'm tired just listening to you talk
so
about what you do. And being a mom and wife and having a job, I can't.
Well,
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy is how I feel.
Let's say it would be easier if I still did cocaine. Because then I would
I'm
have
sure
more
it would
energy.
be.
But
You and Cocaine Bear,
I
both.
We're just fighting the good fight over here. And that's it for our episode on Cocaine Bear. I'm so happy that we finally got to do this movie. Thank you so much to my esteemed panel and listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. I know, yes.
I feel like it's
Panel
like this
two.
big jury, and it's
Seriously.
just me in the in the bleachers back there.
Yeah,
It's
just
it's
Sammy
me,
like
I'm the
stretching
panel.
out. I'm the panel, it's me. So if you like this episode, please give us a quick rate and review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps people find the pod and it makes us feel good.
So good. I feel so good after you guys leave a nice
I
review.
do too.
So
It does make
thank
me feel
you.
really good. We are going to be back next week, and we are actually going to Northern California this time. So this episode, we ended up having to switch some things up because it's summertime and schedules.
Sorry, guys.
Shit happens, but it's fine. But so we are actually going to go to Northern California this time for River's Edge, and I'm very excited.
With Randall Colburn.
That's
friend
right.
of the pod
Friend
from
of
the
pod.
Losers Club.
From Losers Club. Yep. Cannot wait to talk about this movie. But until then, remember, ladies and ladies, support women's rights, support women's wrongs, and roar!
Very good. Very good.